Have you ever said yes to something you really didn't want to do, and then spent hours replaying it in your head? You felt exhausted, resentful, and completely disconnected from yourself, wondering why it's so hard to just say no. This isn't a weakness, it's a survival pattern. Most people who struggle to say no learned early on that their own needs weren't the priority. Maybe you grew up having to be agreeable to keep the peace. Maybe you learned that love was conditional on you being easygoing, so you adapted. You became the helpful one, the accommodating one, the one who never caused any trouble. Not because that's who you are, but because it's what kept you emotionally safe. When you can't say no, it's often because your nervous system links setting boundaries with danger. Deep down, there's a belief that says, if I disappoint people, I might lose them. So, instead of choosing yourself, you choose harmony. Instead of honesty, you choose approval. You silence your own needs just to avoid a little bit of conflict. Over time, this becomes automatic. You say yes before you even have a chance to check in with yourself. But here's a crucial truth. People-pleasing is not kindness. It's self-abandonment. You're not being generous when you ignore your own limits. You're actually teaching your body that everyone else's needs matter more than yours do. Another huge reason saying no feels so difficult is guilt. You worry about hurting someone's feelings, about seeming selfish, or being misunderstood. This guilt usually comes from old conditioning. You might have been taught that having boundaries makes you difficult, or that your needs are a burden. So now every time you even think about saying no, shame pops up. Your body tenses up, your mind starts racing, and you find yourself over-explaining, justifying, and apologizing, even when no explanation is needed. But healthy people do not punish you for having boundaries. Think about it. The people who have a problem with your no are usually the ones who benefit the most from your yes. And that can be a tough pill to swallow, especially if you've built your whole identity around being reliable and needed. When you start choosing yourself, it feels unfamiliar, maybe even selfish. But honoring your limits isn't selfish. It is absolutely necessary for your well-being. There's also the deep fear of abandonment. If you learned early on that connection could disappear without warning, you might now work overtime to keep people close. You give more than you get, tolerate things that hurt, and stretch yourself thin. Not because you want to, but because a part of you believes that love has to be earned through sacrifice. But real, genuine connection doesn't require you to disappear. You don't have to earn your place by overextending yourself. Here's something healing to remember. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you're reinforcing the idea that your boundaries don't matter. But every single time you pause, take a breath, and honor your truth, you start to rebuild trust with yourself. This isn't about becoming harsh or cold, simply about becoming honest. Start small. Before you answer a request, notice your body. Is there a tightness in your chest? A heaviness in your stomach? A lump in your throat? Those physical sensations are your inner signals begging to be heard. They are valuable information. Practice saying no without a long explanation. Practice letting people feel a little disappointed. Practice choosing rest over another obligation. It's okay. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to have limits. You are allowed to protect your energy. You do not exist simply to meet everyone else's expectations. You exist to live your own life. And the right people, the ones who truly care about you, will respect your boundaries without making you feel guilty. They won't require you to shrink yourself to stay connected to them. So, if you struggle to say no, be gentle with yourself. You learned this pattern for a good reason. But you don't have to live in it forever. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to choose yourself. You are absolutely allowed to say no without ever having to explain your worth. Thanks for watching.